Welcome to the Rugby Rundown, where we have been with you throughout the whole season. We're now down to the final two. We're here in San Diego, Snapdragon Stadium. It's championship time.
That's right, Will. After 18 rounds of season play, 2 rounds of playoffs, we are left with your Eastern Conference champions, the defending MLR champions, the New England Free Jacks. They'll be taking on your Western Conference champions in the Seattle Seawolves. Both teams have won this competition before. Free Jacks are looking to go back-to-back champions, where Seattle are looking to add a third title to their history. It's all going down at Snapdragon Stadium.
Oh, I'm excited, Corbs. We're here, Snapdragon Stadium, San Diego, for the championship game. Seattle Seawolves in the West against the New England Free Jacks in the East, man. How good?
How good, how good. What an episode we have in store. Obviously, our MLR final preview here at Snapdragon Stadium. We know our two teams. It's a juicy encounter. Lots to talk about, Will, today.
Oh, lots to talk about. We also have 2 special guests coming on. Tell me a bit about that, because that's pretty much your department.
This is a cracking head-to-head. We managed to have us exclusive here on the Rugby Rundown. And one of the big battles this weekend is going to be the set piece. And we thought, what position is more integral to the set piece than the hooker position, line out and scrum, especially in these two teams, talisman in their side. Both try scorers on the weekend. We've got Andrew Quattrin from the Free Jacks. We've got Joe Taufete'e from the Seattle Seawolves. Probably going to get a little spicy in there as well, those two. They're very competitive guys.
I'm not sure they like each other. Canada, USA, we'll find out more. Yeah, we've got the reviews of the conference finals. We've got that preview of the championship game coming up. But, of course, it doesn't matter where we are in the world, mate. It's Rugby Rundown, therefore we have some Rugby Rundown news, and there's a certain Olympic Games that has been happening or just happened. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Yes, those Olympic Games, Corbs. I've been watching it. I know you've been watching it. The men were just before that opening ceremony, then finishing off on the Saturday. An 8th place finish. What do we think?
Wasn't ideal. It was always going to be an uphill battle. I think the men's is a stacked division, and I think you can have teams that could potentially come 6th or come 1st. But I think for the US, that quarterfinal against Australia, a winnable game for them. And just the fact that they lost more maybe off their own errors, self-inflicted wounds, inability to keep possession, kind of gave the game to Australia. That'll be a tough one. I thought the event on a whole has been incredible. Unbelievable, the turnout, the atmosphere. But yeah, from a US point of view, that's a third sort of men's Olympics in a row with a bit of a disappointing finish, not able to get out of those quarterfinals. It's a tough look.
And maybe a change. Is there potentially a change on the cards? I don't know. We have to say it. You don't know. In sport, it's tough.
It's the reality of sport. And I think you'd be silly to say that it's not going to be reevaluated or looked. Obviously, Mike has been an incredible servant to USA Rugby through the sevens, has transformed that program over a long period of time, but he has been there a long period of time. The results aren't coming. Potentially, this is a moment where there'll be change, but disappointing to say the least.
Disappointing. I tell you what has not been disappointing: the women. And not just, obviously, on the field, as the athletes that they are. We talked about it last week, buddy. They are killing it on social media. But Alona Mar, she's now about, what, 1.5 million followers on Instagram? 1.5 million followers?
And counting.
And counting. Yeah. It's just, like, insane. And it's so amazing for the sport, let alone what Alona's doing, but what that group is doing is pretty amazing. We're recording the day before they're actually going to be playing that semi-final and hopefully potential final.
Well, that's what's incredible is the historic news. Obviously, them beating Great Britain in the quarterfinal today means they're the first time a US team has made it to an Olympic semi-final. What a moment. You could see the emotion in Emily Bidewell, Zach Tess, the players, and what a huge opportunity. Now, semi-final, going to be very tough against New Zealand. You've got the other side of the bracket. You've got Australia and Canada.
Yep.
Obviously, you're hoping for the best against New Zealand, but they seem to be on ruthless form. The way they dispatched China in that quarterfinal was very, very impressive. But for me, obviously, you're aiming for gold and silver. We'll get to the breakdown of what happens. but I still obviously think there's a strong chance of bronze as well with Canada in that bracket.
As you say, by the end of the show, we will have
Yeah,
those
no more
results.
spoilers.
So no more spoilers now. But look, we're going to get out of that. The Olympic Games have been incredible. Paris 2024 has been incredible for sevens, but we're talking about the here and now. It's Snapdragon Stadium. It's Major League Rugby Championship time. Corbs, let's get into it.
Let's go, bro. All right, well, let's talk these conference finals. And wow, they were nail biters, both of them. Let's focus on the East first. And obviously saw the Chicago Hounds falling late near the end to the New England Free Jacks. Obviously a late Andrew Quattrin try won it for them 23-17. Tough one for Chicago, but the Free Jacks, they've done it again. They're in another MLR final.
They're in another MLR final. Congratulations, Scott Mathy and his squad. But you said it there, Corbs. It was so tense. It was so tight right until the end. Yes, Quattrin got that try. With less than 10 minutes to go, I still thought the Chicago Hounds might get it. All the quality they got on their team, like the Billy Meekses of this world, Luke Carty as well, going well at 10. But it was the first half that is where it they lost it, Chicago. Speaking to Rob Webber after the game, sent a message just saying, unlucky. And he just said those errors, the sort of lack of discipline as well, and the chances that they had chances. I mean, literally, Revolt Pitt gets held up over the line. Nate Orsberger is about to score, steps inside. I'm thinking Nate wouldn't do that usually. I don't know. There was just certain things in the end that slightly cost them, but credit to the New England Free Jacks, man. They are a proper team, potentially another championship winning team. They've had injuries, plenty. The likes of a Camaraderie has been out for the whole season. He's been massive for them. Jacobson as well, he's been out. Of course, he was massive last year as captain. But I do have to say, credit to their grit, credit to their determination. They're at home. You could hear those fans going. Great win for the Free Jacks. Unlucky for the Hounds, man. That's how it works. That's playoff rugby.
Free Jacks just one of these resilient teams. And I think
going to the end.
All the pressure that Chicago had on early in that game, and then it went 10-0 to the Free Jacks. They take that try on the short side with the Poitras, and they go wide. Banakana back to Reece McDonald. That to me is a massive swing moment in the game. And then probably looking at that one as well, it's probably just the end of the game. I thought Chicago finally were getting reward at the set piece, turning the screw.
That may have been the difference.
And they just didn't maybe get some of that reward earlier in the game. It didn't look like the referee was too willing. You had to really earn your scrum pens, where maybe if you're Chicago, you feel a little bit hard done by. But right at the end, I was like, oh my God, Chicago are going to do this now. They've turned and then just a couple good defensive moments, took their shot down there, very Free Jack-esque, and that's all she wrote.
What I would say though, try of the season already has to be that Reece McDonald solo effort. That was amazing. I can't wait to see him in a final. And in terms of who's going to be joining him in the New England Free Jacks in the West, was the Seattle Seawolves, who of course, Corbs, you know well, as being part of the San Diego Legion team. They won that game 28 points to 25 against the Dallas Jackals. Corbs, I had both games on comms. The ending to this game we'll get to, but it was to and fro, and you've got to credit the Jackals, man. As much as we want to talk about Seattle Seawolves, where did those Jackals performances come of lately? They nearly got it done.
They almost did it. I think they almost played the perfect game in this one against Seattle. Away at Seattle, very, very tough place to win. And I thought they controlled the game pretty well. They handled a lot of Seattle's kick game pressure, even though they lost the territory battle and the possession battle in that first half. I thought they had some great resilience in the defensive stands. At set piece, especially early, they actually turned a screw on Seattle, which I thought was a big shifter in the game. And then when they got down to the red zone finally, they took their chance. 10-0 up, looked like the Jackals. How was it going to go? Obviously, Seattle responding, huge moment with a penalty try at the Maul, double yellow cards.
Well,
that is a momentum killer. Jackals tried to hold on. Somehow they still found themselves at 20-7 in this game. And I just think the way that the Jackals, when they were down in the red zone in clutch moments, were able to come away with points. Very hard to play through this Seattle team until late in the game. They had the try through the forwards. But then let's just talk about the comeback from Seattle. And it was so Seattle-esque. They're a very momentum side. When they're on the front foot, when they get a rumble, they know how to score tries.
But JP Smith, JP, if you're watching, I'm sure he's probably not, he's focused on the final. That was nearly a moment when they did come back, 21-20, you thought, right, Seattle are going to put this game to bed, and JP Smith just drops it over the line. What are you doing?
Absolute madness, mate. From your skips as well. You could tell he would have been heartbroken. And if it wasn't for one final moment at the end of the game, we'd be talking about that drop
I know, it'd be
the whole
big.
time. It'd be living in for a whole season. But obviously, coming out of nowhere, Divian Rousseau, come the moment, come the man.
Oh,
What a clutch
electric.
play. He just missed touch with a big penalty. You could tell his head was in the gutter.
That's
He
clutch.
gets the ball, 40 out or so from their own line, makes that line break. Unbelievable. Reese finishes with the try. That moment decided the game.
It did.
That was it. There was the JP Smith we'll talk about. There's going to be the odd chance here, the odd chance there. But that moment, that is a game-winning moment. That is something that Free Jacks have some moments like that in their season this season. Seattle showing they can win when tested. They've been pretty much a successful, dominant team all season. They were put backs to the wall, found a way to win. Deserved Western Conference final winners in the end. Heartbreak for Dallas. But what an occasion it was, Will.
What an occasion. What two brilliant games, Corbs. And actually, there were two try scorers in there as well. One on the Saturday was Angus Quattrin. He was pivotal to their game. And then Joe Taufete'e at the hooker position. He also was a try scorer and is always pivotal for the Seawolves. And Corbs, we thought, well, why not talk about those talisman to their face? Let's get them together. And let's talk to New England Free Jacks, Andrew Quattrin, and the Seattle Seawolves, Joe Taufete'e. Yeah, the boys are here. The two hookers. I love saying it like that. Interesting. Andrew, Quattrin, how are you doing, buddy? Talk to me about that win on Saturday against the Hounds. You were the pivotal man. You got that try at the end. Pretty big scenes going on in Quincy.
Yeah, it was good. Could have gone either way. I guess it was a good game for the fans and people watching. Both teams were awesome, but yeah, no, happy with the performance. Happy with Reese McDonald's flying, so it was all good.
And Joe, obviously, you boys getting another win in the playoffs, securing the Western Conference. Two very tight playoff games. Dallas gave you guys a bit of a scare, but some clutch moments right at the end to see it out.
Man, I'm telling you, Dallas are what a team. You know what I mean? Like the kind of obstacles they had to overcome, and obviously coming from what they came from, man, we knew they were going to bring it, and it was a tough battle all the way to the end.
Now, I want to just pick on the fact that obviously you both have got to the final, which is fantastic. You both were try scorers in the final, but you guys have played each other Canada and USA days, I'm assuming. Like, you know each other pretty well. I want to start with you, Andrew. Like, what do you make of your opposite man coming the weekend? Straight into it. You can be as disrespectful as you like.
No, I think Joe's a great man. Obviously, like, playing overseas, that's kind of someone you look up to in North America. He probably had more toe-ups with Ray Barkwell, a guy I looked up to, but Joe's an awesome guy, a guy that you want to be better than on the day, and if you're better than him, then you've had a great game because he sets the standard for hookers in North America. So no, he's awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
Let's not hype him up too much. Right? Joe, very similar question to you. Obviously, you and Andrew know each other really well. Both sort of talismans in that pack for me. The two of you at hooker. I'm already salivating over the scrum matchup that's coming this weekend. Touch a little bit on Quattrin and your opposite number.
Yeah, I mean, Quattrin's always been one of those guys that you see in, the team of the week. So, he's one of the, pinnacles in, their lineouts and obviously the scrums. And we know that, this guy's going to be someone to look after come game time.
Hey, boys, let's get straight into it then. This big game coming up at Snapdragon on Sunday. Andrew, for you, of course, this is back-to-back final, which is pretty incredible. Credit to the Free Jacks and everything you guys have achieved to get here again. What are the lessons maybe of last year that you're taking into this big game, this final in 2024?
Yeah, maybe a bit on like 80 minutes, like that the team last year, San Diego, obviously like came at us for 80 minutes, and there's going to be highs and lows. Obviously, you want to stay on the highs, but you know that each team's gonna perform. So probably just an 80-minute game. Physicality, if not more physical than last year. So you just gotta focus for your whole 24-week season in 80 minutes. It's gonna be a big game.
And Joe, obviously you're a new signing this year in Seattle, one of many sort of big name signings that got a lot of people sort of, taking notice of you guys in the off season. Strong start to the season, maybe weathered a few injuries, now found your form through the playoffs again. What's the mindset of you and the team? Obviously Seattle, 2 championships under their belt already. It's been a while since they've won one. It'd be pretty nice to add a third star to that shirt of yours.
Yeah, 100%. I think, this whole season has been an uphill battle, and all the teams are across the MLR kind of share that scary injury, thing that's got hanging over them. But as far as us going into this week, we kind of took ourselves back and kind of look at, finding enjoyment for the team to be around each other and also to be playing another week. And we know it's going to be a tough competition, but we also want to look at how well we did as a team and how much depth we've got, and kind of building the next generation into the squad and making sure that they're on par with, the boys that are playing week in and week out.
Hey, look, I can just see it's going to be an absolute tussle. You say everything you just said there, Joe, but also, Andrew, you said about it's an 80-minute game. I almost double-ended question here. Like, what do you guys have to do on Sunday to go and win this championship? Is it very much just give the ball to Reece McDonald and let him just score the tries? Or, as well, what are you wary of? What are you going to have to be very wary of this Seawolves team?
Yeah, I wish it was the case for forwards. We probably all do, just give them the ball and whatnot. But no, we know it's going to be physical, right? Like probably an undersized pack coming up against a really big pack. So we're just going to be able to have to hang with them for 80 minutes. Yeah, like it's you're looking across at the guys in front of you and you're looking up 7 inches saying, how's it going? But no, just probably physicality and just precision around the ruck and yeah.
And Joe, obviously, you guys and the Seawolves, you two played each other once earlier in the season at Quincy. It was probably one of Seattle's probably shining moments of the season was that performance. A lot of it started from up front. Obviously, Andrew wasn't playing that game. He's back in there now. What do you think it's going to take? Similar mojo from that game, or is it going to take something different to get the job done for you boys? And where do you see the real strength of the Free Jacks coming into this weekend?
Well, you look back at the game and the game that we played against them away, it could have gone either way. It was whoever was on point that day, and luckily for us, it was us. And as far as the week prepping into New England, we know that, these forwards got soft skills, they're looking to carry hard, and it's going to be physical. We know it, but we're going to have to be able to keep up with them and stay in those long phases where it feels like it's gone on forever, and we know that, being a bigger pack, that's going to be the challenge.
Hey, Andrew, I just want to know quickly from you, buddy, like, ultimately, are you looking forward more to lifting the shield or potentially meeting Marshmallow?
I think at the end of the day, probably lifting the shield. Like, it'd be kind of cool to put on his hat or like that thing he's got.
Someone needs to do that with the shield.
Yeah, it'll be
one of you two.
Yeah, it'll be a hot day for him. But no, yeah, obviously the opportunity to lift the shield. But no, Marshmallow will be good. Marshmallow will be good.
And Joe, very similar question to you. What are you more looking forward to? Lifting the shield at Snapdragon or sharing a cold beer with me afterwards? Once the game's done.
You know what? I could spend hours talking to you about scrums, but I'd rather lift the shield.
The bullet, mate. The bullet. The big-tongued bullet.
Have to be later.
Yeah.
Boys, hey, look, we know it's a very busy week. This is a matchup we're massively looking forward to. There's a lot of respect there. But good luck. Good luck for Sunday. And also, quick shout-out as well, Andrew. Massive what you're doing. Cutting off the locks, man, for cancer, for the charity. Brief bit from you just on that, just what's going on, because you're going to be a changed man come Sunday, right?
Yeah. Anyway, Kyle Secure and I are cutting off the mults for cancer and donating our hair and raising a little fundraiser in Quincy for Marissa's mission. We've already been doing well, so no, it's awesome. Just thanks for everyone for your support.
And Joe, will you be doing the same or what?
I'm thinking about it. I might have to just donate it over to Q.
Love it, guys. Thanks so much. Good luck.
Never a dull moment in a front row chat, is there, Will?
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. Great preview. Great to have both guys on. Extra little bit of spice before the weekend.
They respect each other.
100%. How good. That's what it's about.
How good indeed. That matchup's going to be awesome. There's plenty of matchups across the park. Let's be honest. Jason Potros at 10. You've also got Mac Mason at 10. Well, let's start getting into this preview because there are two big teams with lots of players across the board, man. Where should we start with?
Well, Will, I'm going to start with asking you a little bit about the Free Jacks. I think we set the tone. I'll take Seattle. You can take a bit of New England. But if I'm looking at this game from a Free Jacks point of view, what are their keys to victory and key areas they have to get right this weekend?
I think one of the really impressive things from the weekend just gone against Chicago was their defense and their line speed. They came off the line and they really shut anything down. Obviously, Chicago have got some weapons on the edge and they made sure the ball didn't really get there that many times. Obviously, Seattle, they've got the likes of a Tony Pulu, they've got a Stigling, they've got Connor Moonaham, you name it, depending on the selection. I don't know yet what they're going to go with, but like, so long as they keep that line speed, I feel that is such a suffocator for them just on the defensive side of things. Then their line-out. I think Corbs, and you'll know this area more than I do, they've actually suffered this season. They've had one of the worst lineouts in the league up until about week 16. Andrew Quattrin's now finding his men, and actually I thought their lineout and their whole being in that area against the Chicago Hounds is great. It's going to have to be good against the Seawolves, who have been quality in that area, especially when you've got someone like Big Rhino Herbst, who's brilliant at stealing the ball. So set piece is obviously going to be big. I think the lineout in particular, but then it comes down to the halfbacks, and it comes down to a guy who I was so impressed when I played him last year in the championship final, Jason Potros. He's been here before, he knows his way around the field, he's a game manager. He showed it brilliantly against the Hounds, and I believe he knows what he's doing when the crunch time is. And it didn't get all his kicks of the weekend, but usually he's a very good goal kicker as well. So I've got to say, New England will rely on their veterans, they rely on their line speed, their aggressiveness. Scott Mathy has just got a culture of they're gritty. You know what it's like being a coach playing them. I know what it's like playing them as a player. I would say on the whole, they go into this game as favourites. And I would say overall, they have the confidence in the performance they did have at the weekend. I think that might be, they do that again against the Seawolves. I see them taking away a championship. The other area as well is actually an individual. It's Reece McDonald. Kick badly to Reece McDonald, and that's at your own peril. That try against the Hounds just showed his quality, his talent, that I honestly see being a weapon that could be match-winning if you kick loosely to him. However, can't write off the Seattle Seawolves. How dare I write off? And I know you know them well, man. Seattle, what do we think?
Well, they're best in the West for a reason. And when you look at Seattle, they have so many strengths to their game. And what I like about them is they're really a complete side. So I think the first thing you've got to respect about Seattle is the game control and the kicking game of their 9, 10, 15, 13, however they structure that back line. There's usually 3 key boots that really determine where and when the game is played around the park. And that's what I think Seattle are going to have. Free jacks, very tidy kick game as well, very good structure of escorting their players. Those percentages, who gets the better of the exchanges, who wins maybe the 10, 12 contestables, the majority of those could decide the game, because it's both in the DNA of both teams for me. Just like Reece McDonald being the threat of kick counter, Seattle have so many game-breaking weapons. All it takes is one moment. We talked about Divvy and Rousseau at the end of the game. Game-changing players making game-changing moments. Both of these teams have it. Both have absolute razzle to run back on the kick counter. Seattle are usually not as much as a kick return side, where the free jacks, that is absolutely in their DNA. Reece McDonald showed how potent he could be against Chicago. They have to find a contain him, and there's a lot of space at Snapdragon. It's going to be a tough ask. The next area I think Seattle, that they've been strong, is their defense. The thing they're going to have to realize is they at home at Starfire, it's a much narrower field.
Yeah,
I believe it's 7-8 meters narrower than this Snapdragon Stadium field. And what Seattle have done really well in this competition is they fill the field. They haven't over-competed at the breakdown. They've been much more about time and tackle, fill the field, and just make that seawall and make it almost hard to break. I do think with more space, they're going to have to be a little bit work harder in defense. I think the way the Free Jacks can stretch the field, use the width, the way they went back down the short side, similar to Dallas did as well, that's going to be a massive point of containment for Seattle in defense. The next area for me, which is massive, is gain line. Who gets the better of these exchanges? The Free Jacks punch well above their weight in the contact area, but I think Seattle might have a bit more firepower with their carriers in the pack, the way they load up that front row,
big guys,
4 locks really in that back 5. Do they change that a little bit with a slightly bigger field? Maybe, but it's worked for them so far, so I think they keep that. The next area for me that could really decide it is the set piece. Well, and this is probably the one area I think Seattle probably have the clear advantage in coming in. If we rewind to when these teams played each other in round 8, it was absolute domination up front at the scrum from Seattle. They put that Free Jacks pack back on skates. Constant scrum penalties massively helped them control the game. The thing to remember as well, the referee in round 8 was Luke Rogan. The referee in the MLR final is Luke Rogan. So the Free Jacks are going to have to work very hard from minute 1 to show that they are a different side to that punishing they took up front in round 8. The other area that's massive in the set piece is going to be the line out, but really the maul.
Well,
okay, both
right.
tries
Yeah.
have a very successful attacking maul. If you look at Seattle, the way they can get that back stack on the maul, get round the edge there, it's been very hard to stop for teams. They got a really good one against Dallas Jackals, but also the Free Jacks are really crafty at the maul. Hard mauling side, but also lots of variety and variation.
Yeah.
That
They
is
get away with it
Free
as well.
Jacks 101. There's always tricks up their sleeve to watch out for. They usually steal a try or two a game in the season with that. That's going to be a massive area. But the one that probably decides it for me is who can defend the maul better. Because if you actually look, Free Jacks have conceded a few maul tries, so have Seattle in these playoffs. Whoever is able to shore that up and not be on the receiving end of those probably skirts the game for me. And then last thing that's probably the keyest factor of all these teams, something that the Free Jacks to me are incredible at, is red zone efficiency. I think in the game against San Diego, Seattle had incredible red zone efficiency. Limited entries to the 22, came away with points. That is really the Free Jacks DNA. When they get down there, they don't get the maul, they hold onto the ball, they usually score from something else after it. Seattle need to make sure that they take their shots. They left too many shots out on the missing against Dallas. They cannot afford that against this Free Jack side this weekend.
Well, there you have it. We've given our side of things. I think it's going to be the New England Free Jacks. You're saying it's going to be the Seattle Seawolves. That's what the competition's been like this season, man. It's been literally, you can't pick it, and it's going to be here, Snapdragon Stadium. It's about not playing the occasion. As much as anything, you know about big games, I know about big games as well. They've got to play their rugby. I'm going to be fascinated, man. Are you excited?
It's massive, mate. I can't wait for it. I've got goosebumps thinking about it. Obviously, I wanted to be in this game with the San Diego Legion. I'm putting my heartbreak to the side. I'm getting my rugby fan hat on. I can't wait to be allowed inside those gates until we're actually able to watch this game on the weekend. Marshmallow playing too. I told you I almost saw him in Vegas.
You did.
I'm still on the mission to make sure I get him without the helmet. That's my goal of the weekend. TBD how we do.
TBD, we've loved saying that this season. Hey, look, we are finishing up here. We're going to get back to studio, some final whistle, because we want to see how the women went on in the Olympic Games. But you've got to come and join. Here at Snapdragon. Get your tickets on sdlegion.com. Come and join Marshmallow. Come and join Corbs and I. Come and join Seattle Seawolves versus the New England Free Jacks. It's the championship time in MLR, and it's here on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Let's go.
And we're back in the studio, away from the sun of San Diego and Snapdragon Stadium. And we're here where we brought all that season-long action here on the Rugby Rundown, Corbs. It's going to be an awesome day on Sunday. So good having Andrew Quattrin, Joe Taufete'e, and for us just to be at the venue. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be incredible. What a show we've had. Great guests. And Will, we still got something big to talk about.
Well remembered.
We teased it earlier in the show, but we now know how the women's Olympic sevens went. And boy, did the USA women deliver.
It was just, man, like I watched it and the defense from those girls near the end. And then Spiff Cedric. I mean, talk about a moment of the ages and a moment of history. Did it. Bronze medal for the girls. We are so proud of you, man.
I'm trying not to be emotional.
It was
I was pretty much crying watching it because, like, what a moment. First medal. That means absolutely a completely different game-changing amount of funding from those girls from the USOC. And then what we need to talk about is that they've now been already philanthropy, this female philanthropist, we'll get the article up with her name and everything.
$4 million.
$4 million over 4 years. They're going to get $1 million a year to their program in the build-up to the LA Olympics. Like, that is game-changing resources. The squad depth they can build, the development, the resources, the pay packets they can put to players to make sure that they can entice the best athletes.
They deserve all of it. Not what they've done on and off the field.
Yeah, I think commercially they've absolutely smashed it. Alona Maher's been a rock star and taken her gang of her group with her, and they're all such stars in their own right now, and they've all got amazing social media presence, and they're all getting blue chip sponsors. And let's just see how much this snowballs, because I feel like they'll be on the Today Show, they'll be doing a lot of rounds, and there'll be a lot more to talk about next week while we debrief this final. But we'll also touch on sort of the aftermath here, because man, that try was just
Oh,
ridiculous.
it's ridiculous.
She beat
Oh,
Shani Williams
ridiculous.
and Tegan Levi. It's like two of their best tacklers under pressure in your own 22, and it opened up. And thank God it was her because she had the wheels. Because Maddie Levi was putting the hammer down trying to
Right
catch
into the
her.
post as well.
Yeah,
That
it was
the
just
key.
perfect. Then she makes her own kick to win it. Like, what a moment! Congratulations, USA. You guys deserve that.
deserve everything.
And it's just a great catalyst moment for the sport. I think the numbers on NBC, on Peacock, the social media numbers, they're exploding. So onwards and upwards, and amazing stuff.
I love how you said that they're going to be on the Today Show or another chat show, but we're talking about them on the
Yeah, obviously.
What it means more.
Slightly, 10 million plus viewers on that Today Show.
And you know what, Corbs, I want to end this episode. We have got one more of our season next week, but I want to end this episode on another amazing story. In that Mike Tolkien, people might have known, was suffering with a liver disease and really was looking for a donor. And a massive shout out to Wendy Young's partner, Tracy. Wendy actually commentates in the MLR. Tracy was an organ donor, a liver donor to Mike Tolkien. Mike's recovering really well at the moment. So Tracy, Wendy, and then Mike, thinking of you guys, that is just incredible. That's a rugby story right there to finish on. But from us, Corbs, see you at the championship final, mate. It's going to be a good one.
Mate.
We'll see you next week. Find out who's going to be the champion of MLR 2024.